If I had opened the door just 2 minutes later, the HOA would have taken everything I owned. You ever wake up with that weird gut feeling that something is off? Yeah. Mine hit me like a brick to the face. The house was too quiet. No traffic. No birds. Nothing. Then ping, ping, ping. My motion sensors started going off like I was under attack. I grabbed my phone, opened the camera feed, and froze. My entire street looked like a scene from a low-budget SWAT raid. 6 HOA vehicles, hazard lights flashing. 2 tow trucks reversing onto my driveway. A caravan of clipboard-carrying wannabe cops spreading out like they owned the block. And leading the charge, Karen, queen of delusion, dictator of cul-de-sac, dressed in her signature pink dress like she was headed to a flamingo wedding. She jabbed her finger in the air. Move, move, before he comes out. Tag every violation. Don't wait for permission. Her voice echoed through my speakers like a dying goose. My jaw dropped. Tag every violation? Before I come out? These psychos weren't just enforcing petty rules. They were trying to ambush me. I bolted for the door. On the camera, one of her minions lifted bolt cutters toward my front gate. Not checking. Not asking. Cutting. Another guy was already crouched next to my truck, snapping violation photos, like he was doing wildlife photography. A third dude held a roll of bright orange tow notice stickers. My SUV. My boat. My lawn chairs. My grill. My freaking grill. Everything was getting labeled as illegal. Karen was pacing, her heels stabbing the concrete like machine gun fire. People like him ruin the community. Oversized vehicles. Oversized boats. Oversized ego. Lady, I'm literally asleep and minding my business. The tow driver hesitated. Ma'am, we're not supposed to tow without signature. Karen snapped. Do I look like I care? Tow. The boat. That's when I lost it. I swung open the front door so hard it banged against the wall. Everyone froze. I mean everyone. Even the tow guy looked like he'd just seen God. Karen's fake smile cracked like cheap paint. Oh, good morning, she chirped, voice trembling. We were just performing a routine compliance. Routine? You're breaking into my property. Karen lifted her chin. You didn't answer the notices. We left 6 yesterday. Yeah, I said. Because you pasted them at 3 a.m. like you were doing a kidnapping. The officers shifted uncomfortably. One guy actually tried to hide the bolt cutters behind his leg. Too late. I had my phone up, camera recording in full HD. Karen's eyes widened like she'd swallowed a bug. You're recording? She hissed. Oh, absolutely. Keep going. Say all that again. Behind her, one of her henchmen whispered, Karen, this is illegal. We need his permission to enter. Karen spun around, whisper yelling, No, we don't. I'm the HOA president. My permission is his permission. Even her own officer squinted at her like, that's not how any of this works. The tension hit the roof. The tow truck engine rumbled. The HOA officers stood frozen between obeying her and running for their lives. Karen tugged her dress, glaring at me like this was somehow my fault. Then she made her fatal mistake. She stepped toward me. You have 2 choices, she said softly, venom dripping from her voice. Let us clear the violations, or we'll escalate this. I leaned in. Karen, you stepped on my property without cause. You attempted a tow without signature. You tried to cut my gate. And you did all of this on camera. Her face drained of color. You're bluffing, she whispered. No, I replied. I'm documenting. I turned the camera so she could see the recording timer running. Her jaw dropped like someone unplugged her brain. The officers exchanged looks. They knew it. I knew it. Karen screwed up. Bad. And I wasn't going to let her wiggle out of it this time. I took one more step forward. This ends today. Karen took a step back. The bolt cutter guy took 2. The tow truck started reversing like the driver wanted to exit the state. But Karen wasn't done. She tucked her clipboard tight against her chest, swallowed hard, and muttered, Fine. If you want to play games, you'll see what happens next. And with that, she turned, heels clicking, fury vibrating off her like radio waves. Her army followed. My street went silent again. But this time the silence felt worse. Because the way she said it, this wasn't over. Not even close. The street stayed quiet after the HOA circus left. Too quiet. I stood on my porch, pulse still hammering, watching their trucks disappear around the corner like cockroaches returning to the sewer. But something bothered me. Karen didn't yell. She didn't argue. She didn't throw one last insult about my oversized boat. She just said, "You'll see what happens next." And trust me, when Karen gets quiet, that's when the real nightmare starts. I went inside, closed the door, locked it, double-locked it, just in case her army tried round two. I replayed the footage on my phone. Bolt cutters, illegal entry, tow prep, Karen screaming orders like she owned the Constitution. I had everything. I sent the clips to a friend of mine, Ethan, guy works in private security. He replied instantly, "Bro, this is evidence. Don't confront her alone." I didn't plan to, but then something happened that changed everything. At 10:47 a.m., I heard a loud thump against my front window. I checked the cameras. A little silver sedan had pulled up. No HOA stickers. No uniforms. Just a random guy in sunglasses walking toward my door with a clipboard. He slapped a bright red paper on my window and walked off like he was delivering a pizza. I opened the door, grabbed the paper, and my stomach dropped. Notice of community infraction. Level 3, severe. Level 3, severe? For what? I scanned the page. Failure to maintain approved exterior paint. Unauthorized deck railing. Boat size exceeding HOA standard. Excessive nighttime lighting. Aggressive behavior toward HOA officials. Creating a hostile environment. Attempted obstruction of community compliance. Filming HOA officers without consent. Threatening posture. Threatening posture? Bro, I was literally standing on my porch wearing socks. At the bottom, total fines, $7,800. Due in 3 days. My blood boiled so hot I could have cooked eggs on my forehead. This wasn't punishment. This was revenge. And the signature at the bottom? Karen Willard, HOA president. Of course. I marched outside, scanned the street. Karen's car wasn't there, but someone was. Standing near the end of my driveway, half hidden behind a tree, was a guy with a camera. Black hoodie, dark glasses, filming my house. I shouted, "Hey, who are you?" He didn't answer. He just backed up, kept filming, then got into the same sedan and drove off. My phone buzzed again. Ethan. He sent one message. "Dude, that wasn't HOA. That's a contract inspector. Karen's escalating." "What does that mean?" I typed. His reply came in instantly. "It means she's building a case against you to force a lien on your property." I froze. A lien? On my house? That's the nuclear option. The HOA equivalent of a death sentence. If Karen pulled it off, she could legally force me to sell my home. This wasn't just a dispute anymore. This was a war. At noon, Karen finally made her appearance. She strutted down the street with her clipboard, sunglasses on, that smug little smile of someone who thinks they're invincible. She stopped in front of my driveway, looked right at my camera, and waved. Not a friendly wave. A checkmate wave. Then she mouthed the words, 3 days, and walked away. No trucks, no officers, no yelling, just Karen, smiling, because she thought she had already won. She thought I'd panic. She thought I'd pay the fine. She thought I'd fold like everyone else. She had no idea what I was about to do next. If she wanted a war, she just got one. Karen thought she was smart. Fine, I'll give her that. A fake level 3 infraction. A made-up $7,800 fine. A contract inspector filming my house like he was doing recon for a robbery. She wasn't playing HOA anymore. She was playing chess. And she assumed I was just another clueless homeowner who'd panic, pay up, and shut up. Wrong guy, sweetheart. I spent the rest of the day gathering everything. Camera footage, timestamps, screenshots of their trucks, even the bolt cutters. But while I was collecting evidence, Karen made her first real strike. At 3:22 p.m., I heard engines, multiple. I checked the camera feed. Not HOA trucks this time. City code enforcement. 2 vehicles. Uniforms. Clipboards. Not the usual lazy ones who show up once a month. These ones were fast, stiff, official. Karen called in the government. You have to understand, when you live in an HOA and they call code enforcement on you, they're basically dropping a missile on your house. The 2 officers walked right up to my property line. The older one looked confused. The younger one looked annoyed. They knocked. I answered. Sir, the older officer said, we received a report from the HOA that your property may be in violation of several municipal codes. Translation. Karen fed them a pile of nonsense and hoped they'd find me into submission. I kept a calm face. Inside, I wanted to scream. All right, I said. Tell me what the report says. The younger officer checked his tablet. Overheight fencing, unregistered watercraft, unauthorized exterior structure, non-standard lighting, hazardous balcony railing, illegal second-floor renovation. I burst out laughing mid-list. Hold on. Balcony? I don't even have a balcony. The officers exchanged a look. The older guy sighed. Sir, off the record. This report looks insane, but we still have to check. Then check, I said. Go ahead. I walked them around the property. Every time they looked at something, the same sentence kept coming out of their mouths. This doesn't violate anything. This is perfectly up to code. Why did they even report this? In 10 minutes, the officers realized Karen wasted their time. But Karen wasn't done. Because as soon as we rounded the corner of my house, there she was, waiting, arms crossed, clipboard ready, wearing a smug grin that made me want to exile her from the planet. Oh, officers, she chirped. Did you find the violations? I told you he's been non-compliant for months. The older officer cut her off. Ma'am, nothing here violates municipal code. Everything is in compliance. Karen blinked like someone unplugged her brain. I don't understand. The railing, the boat size, the lights, all legal, he said bluntly. Karen's face collapsed. But she wasn't done embarrassing herself. She slammed her clipboard shut and pointed at me like a toddler mid-tantrum. He's manipulating the system. He's hiding things from you. The officer raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, please step back. No, she yelled. He gets away with everything. I'm the HOA president. My word is final. The younger officer whispered to me, Is she always like this? I nodded. Worse on weekends. Karen's face turned red. She spun around, storming away like a furious flamingo. But right before she reached the street, she yelled over her shoulder. This isn't over. I will find something. The officers just shook their heads and left. The moment they drove off, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You're making this harder on yourself. Karen. She escalated. She failed. Now she was angry. And angry Karens don't retreat. They reload. I looked at the camera feed again. And that's when I saw it. A black SUV parked down the street. Tinted windows. Not HOA. Not code enforcement. Watching my house. Karen wasn't just trying to find me anymore. She brought in backup. This was no longer an HOA dispute. This was a setup. And whatever she planned next, it wasn't going to be legal. I stared at the SUV on the camera feed, parked halfway down the street like some undercover surveillance van. Tinted windows. Engine off. Zero movement. Not HOA. Not city. Not a neighbor. Someone Karen hired. Someone who didn't need a clipboard. That's when it hit me. Karen was done playing HOA president. She was switching roles. Now she was playing mob boss. For the next 20 minutes, the SUV didn't move. Didn't budge. Didn't even pretend to drive away. It was watching. Waiting. I walked outside, keeping my phone recording the whole time. The SUV didn't react. Didn't pull away. Didn't roll down the window. Just existed like a threat sitting on wheels. And that silence? 10 times worse than Karen screaming. because this wasn't drama anymore. This was intentional intimidation. I went back inside before I did something stupid. My phone buzzed. Ethan again. SUV isn't HOA. Watch yourself. Don't engage. I typed. Who the hell is it then? He replied instantly. Karen hired a private compliance firm. They gather evidence to file a forced lien claim. I sat down. A forced lien. From a private firm. That's not HOA nonsense anymore, that's legal warfare. At 7:14 p.m., the second strike hit. A loud metallic clang shook the side of my house. I ran to the window and saw a man in a neon vest walking away from my electrical panel. I stormed outside. Hey, what the hell are you doing? He didn't look at me. He just fast-walked to a white van, hopped in, and drove off like someone fleeing a crime scene. I checked the panel. A bright yellow sticker stared back at me. Utility review. Possible safety hazard. Do not tamper. Possible safety hazard? It was literally inspected 2 months ago. Karen was now trying to cut my power. Holy hell. I ripped the sticker off and tossed it. My phone buzzed again. Blocked number. Another text. I warned you not to fight this. Yeah. Karen definitely got my number now. At 8:05 p.m., the SUV finally moved. But not away. It drove closer. Slow. Creeping. It stopped right in front of my lawn. Lights off. Engine humming. My security camera zoomed in automatically. The driver's window rolled down. Just a tiny bit. Enough to show a dark silhouette. Not HOA. Not Karen. Paid agent. The kind who doesn't care about right or wrong. Only about the paycheck. He lifted his phone, pointed it at my house, and took photos. Click, click, click. I felt my blood boil. You got a problem? I shouted from my porch. The window rolled up. The SUV reversed and drove away. No fear, no hurry, just confidence. Confidence that they could come back whenever they wanted. Confidence that Karen was untouchable. Confidence that I was alone. But here's the thing. I'm not stupid. I'm not backing down. And I'm definitely not losing my home to a pink-dress dictator and her freelance spy squad. So I made my move. I called Ethan. Bro, I said, I need a favor. What kind? The kind that makes Karen regret breathing near my property. There was a pause. Then, I'm listening. I told him everything. The raid, the fake fines, the inspector, the SUV, the utility sticker. He whistled low. All right, he said. Then tomorrow we hit back. How? You want this to end? Yeah. Then we're going to expose her. Expose her how? I asked. Ethan chuckled. She made one mistake, he said. She took this from HOA into government territory. I didn't understand. Meaning, he said. She committed real crimes, and we're going to catch her on video. My pulse jumped. What do I do? Simple, we set a trap, he replied. Ethan showed up the next morning at 6:40 a.m. Black SUV still lurking down the street? Yep. Karen patrolling with her stupid pink clipboard? Yep. The HOA didn't even try to hide anymore. Perfect. Ethan stepped out of his truck wearing tactical boots, a vest, and a body cam that looked like it belonged to someone paid way more than HOA officers. You ready? He asked. More than ready. He smirked. All right, then let's end this. The setup. We installed 4 hidden cameras around the house. 1 aimed at the electrical panel, 1 at the front gate, 1 covering the driveway, and 1 angled toward the street in case the SUV returned. Then Ethan pulled out the real weapon, a stack of printed documents. Every violation she wrote? He said. I pulled the municipal codes. Half of these don't even exist. He handed me another paper. And this is the part that's gonna bury her. What is it? 4 HOA board members filed complaints about her last year. Abuse of authority, misuse of funds, retaliation. She shut the complaints down. That's when I realized Karen wasn't just evil. She was covering her own tracks for months. The trigger. At 9:12 a.m., just as Ethan predicted, the SUV returned. slower this time, more confident, like it already owned the street. "Here we go," Ethan said quietly. The SUV parked. Door opened. A tall guy stepped out, earpiece in, clipboard in hand. Not HOA. Not city. Private enforcement contractor. He walked right toward my property line and lifted a camera to take photos. Ethan whispered, "Wait for it, wait now." The guy stepped 1 inch onto my lawn. 1 inch. Enough to cross the property boundary. Ethan stepped out from behind the tree. "Stop. Step away from the property." The contractor froze like someone hit pause on his life. Who are you?" he stuttered. Ethan held up his badge. "Private security. This property is under investigation. Identify your employer." The contractor panicked instantly. "Emma M. Willard." She said it was authorized. She said the homeowner was a threat. She said. Ethan held up a hand. "Enough. You just admitted trespassing and unauthorized surveillance on record." The man looked at the hidden camera pointed right at him. He knew he was finished. But the real show was about to start. The Queen arrives. Karen came marching down the street like a pink missile. Arms flailing. Clipboard shaking. "As crazy. What are you doing?" she screamed at the contractor. "Don't talk to them. Don't answer questions. Do what I told you." Ethan stepped forward calmly. "Ma'am, this individual trespassed on private property under your instruction. It's all documented." Karen exploded. "I am the HOA president. I can order any inspection I want." "No," Ethan said. "You can't. Not from a private firm. Not without approval from the board. Not without notifying the homeowner." Karen froze. He continued, "And according to these documents," he handed her a folder, "your board never approved any of your actions." Karen's face went pale so fast she looked like a melting candle. She flipped through the pages. Her hands started shaking. "What? How did you? Where did you?" "It doesn't matter," Ethan said. "What matters is this. You committed multiple crimes." Crimes?" she whispered. He listed them. Unauthorized surveillance. Trespassing. False reports to municipal authorities. Harassment. Retaliatory fines. Attempted forced lien through fraud. Tampering with utilities. Each one hit her like a punch to the stomach. You can't prove." "Oh, we proved it," Ethan said. He pointed at the hidden cameras. At the SUV. At the contractor still standing like a guilty statue. Everything was recorded. All of it. Karen stumbled backward. "But I'm the HOA. They have to listen to me." "No," Ethan said calmly. "They don't." The fall. At 10:03 a.m., after Ethan filed the report, after the contractor confessed on camera, after the footage was backed up, a county sheriff car rolled up. Karen nearly collapsed when she saw them. The deputy walked up. "Ma'am, are you Karen Willard?" Yes, but This is all a misunderstanding. We received multiple complaints. We also reviewed the footage." The deputy turned to me. "You want to press charges?" I looked at Karen. "The woman who tried to take my home. Break into my property. Send inspectors. Call code enforcement. Cut utilities. Send private spies. She wasn't the queen anymore. She was done." "Yeah," I said. "I'm pressing charges." Karen tried to speak. "No, wait. Please, this isn't fair." He provoked me. The deputy cut her off. "Ma'am, turn around. Hands behind your back." The sound of the handcuffs clicking? Beautiful. The street watched as Karen was walked to the cruiser. Pink dress. Clipboard dropped on the ground. Face pale. Eyes wide. Defeated. The SUV peeled out. The contractor apologized 3 times and practically sprinted to his van. Ethan patted my shoulder. "Told you," he said. "She wasn't ready for someone who fights back." The end. 3 weeks later, Karen was removed as HOA president. The board dissolved her fines. The HOA issued a formal apology. The private firm dropped the contract. The lien? Gone. The violations? Deleted. The board members she bullied came out with statements against her. And me? My house was safe. War over. Peace restored.